another episode, Middle Ground with JLE L.L.C, where we treat you like family. I have another great guest for you. A family right here. He is the owner of Pristine, Pronto, Hardwood floors, Zachary Dean Photography, and he has a music production company, Cream of Beats. Zachary Cephus. Welcome to the show, sir.
What's going on, man? What's going on?
You, brother. Talk about this music thing a little bit.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about it,
you,
man.
Celebrate you. What led you to this path?
What brings me to this path?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever my destiny is, it's the things that I do are things that I enjoy doing, things that I love doing. I've worked many jobs that I hated, just because of the money, and it put me in a good position, and it put me in a bad position. I was in that rat race, and you're getting that paycheck, and all it's doing is keeping that wheel going. True. And then after a while, you can't figure out why the wheel is just never stopping. And I had to get out of it. I figure if I'm going to do anything, it's got to be something that I enjoy doing. And for me, the first thing was the music.
Mm-hmm.
And even from when I was young, my dad used to throw parties, and he had all this equipment, analog equipment.
I like the analog.
I was making pause tapes, pause beat tapes before I even know what pause beat tapes were, and pause tapes, for the people that don't know, that's like you record part of a song, and then you hit the pause button, and then you rewind the other tape, and then you unpause it to unrecord. I mean, not unrecord, but you would unpause it so that you could record more of the other part. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So you could take like a little break that was a few seconds long and stretch it out. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And I just thought it was cool to do. I didn't know that was even called pause tapes. I was probably 5 years old.
Oh, wow.
8 years old, you know what I'm saying? And, doing stuff like that. But, yeah, the music was the first thing. Photography was second. And, after working at Chrysler, I worked there for 14 years, came out in 2008. And, I just pretty much figured, there's a bunch of reasons why I left, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the most important reason why I left was I was seeing people I had 94 seniority. They were people that had 96 seniority that were getting laid off, and that's like right behind me,
Yeah.
These people were sitting down, and I seen them lose their homes, and I seen them lose their cars, and I'm like, if I'm gonna lose everything, it's gonna be because I ain't got a job. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna lose everything and have a job. How much sense does that make?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Right. So, when they turned around and they said, basically, we're gonna give you $100,000 to not work. Sign me up. Sign me up, man.
Absolutely. So, I feel that.
I left, and the whole time working there, it's like you're listening to people that really don't have anything.
Wow.
Like, I mean, I hate to even put it like that, but a lot of the people that work at the big three, they're there because that's the best thing that ever happened to them. You know what I'm saying? So now you got people there telling you, like, where else can you go and get a job that pays this much money? You know what I'm saying? They're making you feel like this is the best that it can ever be. And when I left Chrysler, man, I picked up the camera again. I was a photographer. Well, I knew about photography when I was in high school.
Okay.
And So that was 92. Now it was 2008. A lot of change. But I picked up the camera again after all those years, and one of the first jobs that I had was at a school, and I made $6,000 within 6 hours.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm sitting up there thinking, like, Chrysler never paid me this kind of money. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
when people talking about, where else you gonna go and make this kind of money, look, you can do it on your own. And I
Yeah.
started thinking, like, like if Donald Trump did, if he lost everything today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would he apply for a job at Chrysler?
Nah.
You know what I'm saying?
Nah.
Like, would he say, you know what, I gotta start all over again. Let me try and get up in Chrysler. No, he would create another plan and say, look, I gotta make another master plan to make another million or another $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I did. I ain't there yet. I ain't made no million. Damn sure I ain't made no billion, but I'm pretty comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with Zachary doing photography, who all do you shoot?
I pretty much shoot whatever needs to be shot.
Okay.
I've done weddings. I've done corporate shoots. I've done a lot of family pictures. I've done model pictures. I've done it all. Um, as far as what I enjoy shooting, I would probably say um, it's individuals.
Okay.
People that just need some professional photography that might not have the money to go somewhere else. Like that's usually what I like shooting. Because my happiness comes from giving people something that they really couldn't have afforded, or may not have the money to be able to afford it. So, I like making people happy, basically.
Yeah, you give helpful pricing. You did my headshots, which were awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
You did it.
Yeah, so yeah, that's my whole thing. I enjoy just making people happy, but I think I'm gonna get more into doing I think I'm gonna get into more into doing like family pictures.
Okay.
Yeah, only because we live at a time now where you could be here today and gone tomorrow. You
Yeah.
know,
Fine line.
like for no reason. You take the wrong breath of air and you're gone. So
Mm-hmm.
I know that my dad, he just, well, not just, he's 81, and my parents are older.
Mm-hmm.
I'm blessed to still have my parents around, and
Mm-hmm.
I said, you know what, Zach, I haven't done family pictures in 10 years, and I just did the family shoot last week, and it just dawned on me, like, you know what, there's probably a lot of people that need this type of photography. Like, I'm giving you something that your cell phone isn't giving you. So,
That's true.
you can't use that excuse anymore of, well, photography is going to be dead because everyone's got cell phones. No, people want what they can't have. You know what I'm saying? Like, if everyone can make a McDonald's hamburger, then McDonald's wouldn't exist. You know what I'm saying? And
Good point.
McDonald's ain't nothing special, but you can't make that. So that's why they're around. So yeah, with the photography, with music, even with the flooring, I'm giving people something that they can't attain by themselves.
Now, what made you get into and create Pristine Pronto hardwood floors?
Okay, so Pristine Pronto came about. Okay, it came about because I hated my job.
Okay. Been there
I
before.
hate, I hated my job. I left one bad job, got into a worse job, So I became a journeyman carpenter, and quite honestly, that experience was the worst I've ever experienced. You know, they didn't teach me nothing. It was a lot of political racism that goes on in construction now. A lot of these companies hire Black people to be able to bid on the jobs. So in other words, Coleman Young, he had that thing in place where if you're gonna make money off Detroit, then you're gonna hire people that look like they're from Detroit, right?
Okay.
So what these companies do is they hire residents of the city like tokens. So they'll say, okay, well, we got Zach and we got Jeffrey. You know, we hired them, so we you know we're a diverse company. You know, we hire minorities.
Yeah,
And
practically
so
what some companies doing.
right. So now because they hired 2 Black people, we can bid on these jobs, and these jobs might be, you know, $10 million,
Oh,
$30
wow.
million. You know what I'm saying? But the only reason that they can bid on these is because
Yeah,
they
they
got
need to
some
require
token Black people there. And they'll hire us. And then as soon as they get the jobs, as soon as they win the bid for these jobs, then they lay us off and replace us with their own people. You know, I hate to put it out there like that, but that's what's going on. And so,
that would make
you
it
know,
hit.
yeah, a lot of times, you know, I'd be sitting at home and, you know, everyone would say, all right, well, you're an apprentice, you know, you're an apprentice carpenter. You know, you should be making decent money. You know, I wasn't making 30 bucks an hour sitting at home. I wasn't making anything. And they don't tell you that you're fired. You know, they'll tell you, all right, Zach, we'll see you on Monday. You know, they'll tell you that on Friday or Saturday. And then come Monday, they'll say, well, give us a call on Wednesday. You know, work's a little slow. And, you know, for me, that was 2016. I mean, you know, technically I still work for the union. They never told me that I'm fired. You know what I'm saying? Since 2016, I'm still waiting on that call. So
So you
that's
jumped
why.
into the floors, and how has that experience been?
Well, you know, so here's the thing. So I had done floors in 2001 with my first house,
Okay.
and you know, it was a trial. I hated the experience. I had a guy that came by and told me that that he knew how to do floors, and it was a coworker. And you know, he looked at the floors and he told me, "All right, I'll do it for $500." I said, $500 for the whole house? He said, no, per room. I said, that don't make sense because the living room is bigger than the bedroom. You know, so how are you charging me 500? You know, like the hallway is small. How are you charging me $500 for the hallway, but you're charging me $500 for the living room? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
it
square
didn't
footage
make any
is different.
sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I went ahead and I got the equipment and I said, you know what, I'm gonna try it. And if I mess it up, I'll just put carpet on the floor, you know? And I hated that experience so much. I remember putting the equipment on the truck to take it back to the rental place, saying, I never want to touch this, you know, a floor sander, an edger ever again.
Okay.
And so what happened is 3 years later, I bought a bigger house. So the first house I had was about 1,000 square feet. The second house I had was about 3,200 square feet.
Okay.
And so the floors were messed up at the second house. And I said, I don't want to do it again. Let me call someone else. So I called this company up, and the guy showed up, had his hands on his hips, and with a straight face, he told me $15,000.
Wow.
You know, I was 29 years old. How dare you try and tell me you're going to charge me $15,000 to do
Wow.
my floors?
That
So,
makes you get back on the grind. Figure it
right,
out.
I said, well, Chrysler don't pay me $15,000 a week, so I guess I'm just going to take a week off work and do my floors. And did my floors there, and they turned out all right. I think other people came and looked at it, and they wanted me to do their floors, and I wasn't doing it like every week like I'm doing it now, but maybe like twice a year. I would get a job here, a job there, and I put it away. And so fast forward to 2016 when I was getting laid off in the construction field,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't have anything. I said, man, what can I do that people will be willing to pay a lot of money for? You know, 'cause I don't want to cut grass because that don't pay no money, and I'm gonna be burning up, burning up out there. I don't want to work on cars. I don't, what I'm saying. I want to make some decent money, but what can I do that people are willing to pay for? And after scratching my head, I said, do floors, you know. And so I put one ad out on Craigslist.
Okay.
And so now I'm sitting at home. I'm
Mm-hmm.
waiting on the carpentry union to call me about work. And got a call from someone saying that they wanted their floors done. I went over there, and in 3 days, I made what I would make as an apprentice, where it would take me the whole month to make
Okay.
in 3 days. So I said, you know what? I'd rather work 3 days a month than work every day. you know? So,
I'm reconciling with these floors now.
right. So, the union called me about work, and they said, hey, are you working? I said, no. They said, you looking for work? I said, nope. you know, and I pretty much rode my last year of apprenticeship out. I got my journeyman card because
Okay.
I wasn't about to let them you're not about to just push me away
Yeah, you gotta get started.
and I don't get my journeyman card. Like I worked hard for this.
Yeah.
But so I've been doing floors ever since.
Now I noticed, on Facebook, you got back to your music.
Yes,
What
that's my
brought that?
main love there.
Yeah, that's why I got you on because I got a music producer on now to talk to someone that is hesitant to do what they should be doing with music. What got you back on
Okay. Um, what got me back on music was the fact that I had put myself in a good place mentally
it? Mm-hmm.
to be able to do it. You
Okay.
know, it's it's one thing to do music if you have a job and you got a job that you enjoy, and you can come home, and at some point you start feeling like, if I had the time to do music, if I didn't have this job and I could focus my time on doing music, then I could probably take this to another level, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, so when I left Chrysler, now I got $100,000. I got all the time in the world, and I'm sitting there and I'm doing music and I'm not making any money off it. And to me, it felt like every dime that I spend of this 100,000, every dime that I spend, I'm getting that much closer to being homeless.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because I got to make this $100,000 work. And I was on YouTube, and this is 2010, around that time. I left Christ in 2008, and my hunger for doing music was dwindling because I've been raised to be an employee. From the time that we're kids, our parents say, he's going to grow up to be a doctor, or he, you know what I'm saying? They put these ideas in our head from the time that we're kids, the programming. And so now for the first time in my life, I wasn't making no money. I wasn't getting a paycheck. So I felt like a loser. Just I'm making beats and I ain't selling them. You know, so it's like, what the hell am I doing this? You know, why am I doing this? I got on YouTube and I seen this little 12-year-old girl making beats using the same machine that I got.
Okay.
And I said, what the hell am I doing? I'm doing the same thing that the little 12-year-old girl is doing. And I need to make some money. You know, I need some paychecks coming in. And if this music isn't doing it, then I'm not doing the music. You know, because if I was gonna survive off making beats back then, I would have starved 20 years ago. You know, so my drive for doing it went away. It was like a zero. And so you know, when I got in the carpentry union, and you know, my drive still wasn't there because they were working the hell out of me. And you know, when I started doing the flooring, and now I'm getting comfortable. You know, now I can see some money in my bank account. You know, I got free time. You know, I always had free time, but I never wanted to make beats because I wasn't making no money with it. But now I don't care about making any money off making music because I make more money, you know, doing the flooring. So you know,
Love again.
going yeah, you know, going to work and you know, coming home and you know, not saying doing the flooring doesn't wear me out because I'm tired when I do floors. But you know, you walk by your equipment and your equipment's just looking at you like, man, you haven't turned me on in a week. You know, you haven't turned me on in a month. You haven't turned me on in 6 months. You know, and you know that my drum machine became a place where I would put my dinner plate. you know,
I
you
hear you.
know,
I
and
hear you.
you know, I was in my room, I was eating dinner, I was watching YouTube, my plate was on the drum machine, and I just felt like I was just disrespecting this machine, you know. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna turn it back on again, you know. And I was buying equipment, and for about a year, all I did was buy equipment, you know, and but I didn't have no time to use it. And
Okay.
then what was it? November of last year? I think it was November of last year, man. Something in me was like, Zach, man, turn this equipment on. Open these boxes that you have here. And I opened the boxes, but now I didn't feel like plugging it up, you know, and because now I needed new wires and you know what I'm saying? And it was just one thing after another. Once I got the wires together, then you know, one of the speakers had gone out and now I had to go buy new speakers, and I'm fighting with myself because I'm like, Zach, you got to spend $600 on these speakers and you haven't even made no music yet. You know, you've spent money on equipment for this last year. You haven't made no money off the music yet, you know? So once I finally did plug it up, Jay, man, it was like, I don't know, man, something came over me. It was like all them years that I wasn't making music was just marinating in me, you know, because you never stop. Even though you stop making music, you never stop making it. You know what I'm saying?
You're
Like
right.
you
You're
still
right.
got it in your head. You're still thinking of things that you could do, you know, and you know, you listen to someone else's music and you be like, man, they should have added this here. And you know, so I never stopped making music in my head. And when I cut that machine on, man, it was like I forgot a lot of things on how to do, you know, certain options that's in the machine. But man, you give me a week, man, and I was right back at it, man. It was like I didn't skip a beat.
Yeah, I can relate with that. When I was almost getting to the end of my business degree, I just stopped doing music too. Like
Yeah.
I'm straight corporate. I got a family. I need to take care of this and this. And then my producer now, Throne Music, he made the Jesus Forgave Me track and put it on Facebook. And I'm like, oh,
Right.
I need it.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah, man.
like, you not whole. You got to do both. And
Yeah.
that got me back to music back in 2014.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's a lot of change. A lot has changed since you know, my equipment remained the same since 2008.
Okay.
You know, so when I got back to doing my music again, November last year, if you would have looked at my setup in 2008, it was exactly the same, right?
Okay.
But now I had a few other pieces, that I bought. Not a lot, I had a Novation base station keyboard. It was sitting there for like 4 years, never really used it. Um, I got a few other pieces. I ain't gonna mention what they are, but when I got back into doing music, so much had changed as far as technology.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a sample-based producer. A lot of changed where people get their samples from. I'm still stuck in 2008, where if I want to get some samples, I got to put my shoes on. I got to go in the car. I got to drive to the record store. I got to, fish through a bunch of records.
Yeah,
and then come home. And, that's the mentality that I had. But I'm listening to the music and I'm hearing like really clean samples, that people are making beats on. And I'm like, where are they getting these sounds from? Because in the last 30 years, I swear producers have used everything. We've sampled absolutely everything, but now I'm hearing super clean samples, like just pianos or, certain instruments or whatever. And I'm like, there's no way these people are finding these samples and no one found them before.
Okay.
Well, you got stuff now like Splice, you got stuff where you got loops that people download, kits that people create, and no one told me anything, so I'm trying to figure out how people are making the stuff. And now my producer mind is telling me, Zach, you need to learn how to play because maybe these people are playing it. No, they're not. They're not playing it, And then you start listening to more music you start hearing the same loops, the same sounds.
Yeah, you do, brother. You doing some of this music.
Yeah, and it's like, wait a minute. Like, these people are cheating out here. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's a good thing, though, because, like, when you don't know how people are doing something, that gets the creative juices flowing. And even if you get to that point by doing it incorrectly, now you done figured out something that they haven't figured out. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, because I know for my music, I gotta be like it's a live band playing.
Right.
And that's the vibe I be in when I be in there working with them to come up with the tracks. Like, okay,
right.
This is the drummer doing this thing. This is a dude just chilling, playing the guitar. Real live sound, not seem like some people got the same beat and they just recycle it.
Right. And a lot of that is going on. I remember when we had the 96 seniority people at Chrysler that were laid off, and they would be up in the lunchroom all day. They didn't have no work for them, but they made them come to work. Mm-hmm. And these people would bring their laptops, and this is like maybe 2006.
Okay.
I'd never even heard of GarageBand, right?
Oh yeah.
I'd never heard of it. And these dudes were coming down by my work area playing me beats that they made. And I'm like, that's a live band. How are you making this upstairs in the cafeteria? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Good, because GarageBand's got loops in it. And you can take certain loops and, so now you got this live band playing the loop. and then you can say, you know what, let me slide a bass riff in there. Let me slide some pianos in there. Let me slide some harps in it. And so now you got this whole orchestra, and you don't have any pads. You don't have a keyboard. You know what I'm saying? To me, it's like, how do you make music if you don't at least have a drum machine? How do you make music sound like a live band and you don't have a live band?
Yeah, because even on the app, they got to where, like, say if you do R&B, they already got all the stuff set up. You just be pressing at each time period of the song, and you create the sound. Like, dang, they made it real easier now.
Right. It's so easy now, man. But
that's me though. That's
that's the beauty in it, though. Like I love it only because it separates the men from the boys. And when I say that, I mean like now anyone can make a beat, right?
True.
But the reason why everyone makes the same beat, everyone sounds the same, is because they adopted a style that's easy to duplicate. So a lot of people, not to say anything about trap music or anything like that, but a lot of people make music like that because they don't know how to make anything else. It's easy to come up with 3 chords. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to make a bass line when all it is doom, da doom, doom. So everyone does that. But now if you want to hear some real music, you can somewhat identify it if that's what you do. We all have 2 different types of ears. We got consumer ears, and then once you start producing, you develop producer ears. So the consumer ear is, all right, that sounds good, I can dance to it, right? They don't care about the process. The producer, right? The producer ear is, okay, what kind of drums did he use on that? How did he bend the samples? We try to figure out how it was made, and once we realize, okay, this guy is, he put some work into it, that's when it gets the approval. That's the producer ears. But you got to be able to turn the producer ears off sometimes and just enjoy the music. And then there's other times where you need to study it, when you want to learn more. So
yeah, you're right. Because I know when I first started, first time I was in the studio, I made a track, and I'm gonna redo that song for the 3rd album, but better. I thought I was the man. I let my friends listen to it. They're like, you got a lot going on, like, but it's awesome. Like, no, it ain't, Jeff. Like, man, y'all hate. Right. I called a girl I was dating at the time, like, she got my back. She like, nah, boo, this.
Right.
All y'all don't know. Y'all not musicians. You don't know.
Right, that. Right.
I'm like, yeah, I get it. Well, I started here, and I just went way over here with it. Like,
right.
No, you can't be doing that, Jeff. You got to
the
foundation, add to it, switch it up some, bring it back home.
Mm-hmm.
It was a process to where I would notice when people listen, people like banging beats. So, all my stuff positive, like, but it got knocked. You gonna play in your car, you're like, oh, okay.
Right.
Talking about something, I can bob my head like, yeah.
Right.
Like and I've noticed in getting creative with the 2nd album, some people be listening to see, okay, where were you going with this? And you trying to create that sound.
Right.
Like JLE World, the first song off the 2nd album, JLE World. And we was in the studio banging on tables, using spoons, keys, everything to get the sounds on that song.
Mm-hmm.
When everybody hear it now, like, that was key shaking.
Right. It doesn't matter though, man.
Creativity is awesome.
Yeah, that whole process right there is that's a beautiful process. You have to go through that, thinking that you're the man. Like ain't no one making stuff like this.
Yeah, you gotta believe in yourself making music. You got to.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, we I don't care if you first get your drum machine. If you just got your drum machine today, you're gonna make a pattern on there and think it is amazing. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like it ain't no one messing with this. You know what I'm saying? But,
Absolutely.
you know, for a lot of us, man, the guy that humbled us was Jay Dilla. You know,
Phenomenal.
Dilla. If you're from Detroit and you know, it's two different types of hip hop in Detroit. You know, you got the slum village type thing, and then you got like the Cheddar Boys. You know what I'm saying? But if you're into the type of hip hop that I'm into, man, Jay Dilla was the one that humbled you. You know, so you thought that what you were doing at home was amazing, and then you go to St. Andrews and DJ House Shoes was spinning some new Dilla, and he made you feel like, you know, I need to go home and cut that drum machine on again because what I did, it wasn't it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's either he made you feel that way or he made you feel like I might as well just throw my drum machine out the window because what's the point?
Oh man. Yeah.
So,
Because your beats have a distinctive sound. What was your thinking when you was coming up with that sound?
my sound comes from a lot of inspirations. You know, for one, you know, probably DJ Premier was probably a big inspiration at first. Um, I found out about, you know, I mean, secondly, Pete Rock. Um, I found out about Dilla, I don't want to say late. It was probably like 96, whenever they came out with Volume 1, Some Village Volume 1. But, you know, I didn't start producing until 2000. So it was years after, but you know, I still bring up names like, you know, Pete Rock and Premier because I gravitated towards that sound.
Okay.
You know, so when I was first making beats, you know, the very first thing I did, I tried to replicate the bass line in Thelonious, which is a joint that Jay Dilla produced. And once I figured out how to do that, then I wanted to sound like DJ Premier.
Okay.
And, you know, a lot of people will imitate someone, and when they get to the point where they sound like them, they'll stop. No one wants to hear an imitation,
Yeah,
you know.
you gotta find you.
You got to find you. So it wasn't enough to sound like Premier. It wasn't enough to sound like Pete Rock. And, you know, I was never like on their level anyway, you know what I'm saying? But I was going towards that sound,
Okay.
and something in me was like, Zach, you got to take everything and roll it into one, but then you still have to, I got to put my mark on it too,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So I was greatly inspired by, you know, all those producers that I mentioned, but like to find your own style, man, it takes like, I tell people it,
Take a minute.
yeah, I tell people it takes like a good 10 years, you know. So you might make you might do something incredible within the first 6 months. You ain't there yet, you know. And 6 months later, you might listen to what you made 6 months ago, and you might think that it sounds terrible, but I guarantee you, if you listen to what you just made a year after, then what you made a year before will sound terrible, you know? And then you keep going through that process until it gets to a point where people recognize a certain sound, you know? Like I don't have a certain sound like that, you know?
Okay.
And I think that's my certain sound. You know, like you can't really put a finger on it. I don't make one certain type of hip hop. Like it might be sample based 1 minute. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I might chop samples up. another minute I might not chop anything up. I might actually play stuff. I might it's just I might do like some Bollywood type of
Okay.
hip hop. I might do some reggae type stuff, but then I won't get stuck in that because I don't want to be typecasted as that certain type of producer. So I want to always come with a different type of flavor. Shoot, sometimes I might sample 5 different records
Okay.
just to make one song. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not taking part of one song and recreating it. It's 5 different parts. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be real hard for you to even tell where anything came from. But that's my thing, man. Like I like surprising myself.
Okay. I know
So,
when I was think by '06, I was still work with Lauren, who was my producer and classmate at Wayne at the time. My older brother was cutting my hair. He's like, "You got talent with music, but you ain't found you." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like, you listen to Randy Travis, Tupac, Boyz II Men. You listen to Bon Jovi and some classical. I don't hear none of that in your music." I'm like, I don't know how you put that in. Like, when you figure that out, you start finding you.
yeah.
Oh, I got it. And after a while, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not going to see it right away. It's not going to make sense right away.
Took a long time, but I
You
figured
know.
out what you're talking
Yeah. Yeah. It takes a little while. I think my style, like when I listen to my old beats,
about. Mm-hmm.
I could see my true style coming around maybe the fourth or fifth year,
Okay.
but it still wasn't there though. But now, like it's still not there. I don't think it'll ever get there. There's always something more that you can learn.
True.
Um, there's always something that I want to do that I don't know. I don't know how to play. I don't know how to play keys. I can find certain key notes on the
Mm-hmm.
keyboard and assign them to a pad on the drum machine and replay them like I'm playing keys. But I don't know how to like just off the top of my head, let me just get on the keyboard and play something. So that's something that this year I want to buy a keyboard. I
Okay.
want to start taking lessons, taking things to another level. But even when I get to the point of playing the keyboard, there's always going to be another instrument, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, instead of playing the bass on the keyboard, even though you can do it, wouldn't it be better if you knew how to actually pick up a bass and play it? You know what I'm saying?
I
So,
gotta do my training, my guitar and bass guitar.
right.
And I want to get.
So yeah, I always want to see growth.
Mm-hmm.
And with this equipment now, man, there's so much that you can do on it. It's not like back in the days where you had to buy a drum machine just because it was a drum machine, and then you had to buy a sequencer just to arrange the sounds. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you
You have to
don't
keep
have to
it
do
together.
that no more. Like you buy one piece of equipment. Like I got the MPCX now,
Okay.
and you can actually record vocals into it. You
Nice.
know, you can mix, master. It's got effects in it. It's got granulator in it. It's got everything in there. You know what I'm saying? So there's so much that you can do with one piece of equipment that it's it's kind of hard to max it out. It's before, like I said, a drum machine was just a drum machine. So once you learn how to program that drum machine, you were getting 100% efficiency out of it. How do you get 100% efficiency out of a machine that can do 1,000 different things?
Good
Like
point.
even if you make some incredible music on it, the CPU is still laughing at you like you ain't doing nothing.
Yeah, you ain't scratched the surface yet.
Right.
You're right about that.
Hmm.
Did you ever see yourself where you are right now?
Um, don't know. I don't know where that is. I mean, I ain't nowhere. So I hope to see myself in a much better position. A month from now, 6 months from now, 6 years from now. But yeah, I ain't nowhere yet. I'm just comfortable. So it
Okay.
now if I look at life from that perspective, um, no way. I've enjoyed a pretty good life, man. Like I really, even though I work hard with what I do, and I've worked harder with doing construction. Um, I've pretty much enjoyed an easy life the second I left Chrysler in 2008. And I have to think to myself sometimes, there's guys that work their whole life and don't enjoy their retirement as
Mm-hmm.
long as I have enjoyed my freedom from not working. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, when I look at things that way, no way, man. No way. I mean, I'm 48 right now. I haven't paid a mortgage since I was 33.
Awesome.
You know what I'm saying? And that's all because of Detroit. Like I can't imagine this type of freedom being in any other city, any other state, any place else in the world. If you're an artist of any kind, I don't know why the hell you're not in Detroit. You know, I don't know. I don't know why people leave Detroit to go to California. Because the rent out there, even back in 2008, people were paying over $2,000 a month for a
Man.
two-bedroom apartment. You know, and here in Detroit, you can buy a whole house with 1 month rent. You know what I'm saying? That house ain't gonna look like nothing. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah,
might have
but
to
you can
do
fix
some
it up.
work to it. But
Yeah.
yeah, man. I mean, sure, you can, and you can still buy houses for $1,000 in Detroit. You know, I don't know why some people don't take advantage of it.
Yeah. That's an opportunity in the D if you look.
Yeah, that there are a few people that have moved here from other states,
Mm-hmm.
and they took advantage of it. I know one couple where, to make a long story short, they took their 401k, which wasn't much.
Mm-hmm.
They bought a house in Detroit for $2,000. It was a 4-unit house, and they took the rest of the money in their 401k and fixed up 1 unit. Someone told them about Airbnb, and
Okay.
they Airbnb'd it out, and that 1 unit paid for the second unit, and then they lived in the third unit, and they rented the other. The place paid for itself over 10 years ago. These
Wow.
people to this day have not worked. You
Wow.
know what I'm saying? That house takes care of them financially. So, if you're an artist and you're used to paying, if you're out there in New York or Atlanta or California, and you're used to paying $1,600 a month, like $1,600 a month, I pay $1,400 a year in property taxes. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I hate paying my property taxes. you know, so I couldn't imagine. I hate paying $1,400 a year, and these people are paying over $2,000 a month. Like, come on, like, why are you there? You
Hey,
know,
Russ, you chimed in. Good
right?
dude. But you got a point. Detroit got a lot of opportunity here if you look for it.
Yeah, man. I mean, you can't wait for a city or a state or an area to get beautiful before you move there, because then you can't afford it. You can't afford it
You
at
right
that
about
point.
that. Once you do
You
get
know,
there, the pricing will change.
right? It's gonna
You get
change.
on the
So
ground
it's like
floor with it.
it's like right now is a great time. I mean, I think 2008 was a great time to move to Detroit, but it was rough. You
Yeah.
know, it was rough. I mean, when I got my house, I paid cash for it, and I got it in the wintertime, and by the springtime, I was ready to move because it was, gunshots, and it was, 20 dudes on the porch across the street, and it wasn't pretty, but my one neighbor bought a house for a little bit over $2,000.
Mm-hmm.
Fixed it up herself without taking out any loans, and in 3 years she sold it for $200,000. So, where else you gonna do that at?
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? Like $2,000 enabled her to not have to pay rent or mortgage anymore. Just $2,000. I can't think of anywhere else where you can do that at. I know you can do it in like Ohio, but who wants to live there?
Ohio's a great state. Great people. Last question. What advice do you have for someone trying to find their purpose?
The best advice that I can think of, man, is just do what makes you happy. Do what makes you happy. As long as it's legal, have a plan and make it a foolproof plan. Question it. Have doubt. A lot of people say, you're not supposed to question your thoughts or whatever, and question it. Make sure it's foolproof.
Okay. And
then execute it. Unless, because if you don't create a plan for you, then you're gonna be working for someone else for the rest of your life, and you're really not gonna like that.
Yeah.
So I'd rather go out doing what makes me happy.
Man, that's great advice. Great conversation for anyone that's trying to be a music producer. Hope these tips help you figure out what to do. At least research it. Maybe GarageBand or Fruit Loops, whatever simple they got out here just to test the waters.
Yeah, Kai MPC. I'm not a sponsor, but it's what I like.
I want to thank my fam, CEO of Pristine, Pronto, Hardwood Floors, Zachary Dean Photography, and the music production company Cream of Beat, Zachary Cephus, for sharing his journey, his wisdom. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, man.
Till next time, everybody.
Thanks, Jay.
Thank you.
Peace.
All right. Another great show. Be sure to check out my Patreon. Patreon.com/middleground with JLE L.L.C. Check out my latest books, Hashtag Musician Thoughts series on Amazon.com. My album, The JLE Experience and JLE World. And just keep trying to find your purpose, man. Keep working at it. You'll find it. Have a great weekend.
Detroit raised me. Detroit.